Hello everyone, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello Gaurav, good morning.
Hey, Sir. Hello, everybody. All right, everyone. So I will start this session in 1 minute. Okay. So you can just open your project that we were working on. Then we'll start together. All right. So let's start. We were starting our feedback application. Let's do some things there, like adding functionalities, adding input field, so that user can type and enter his feedbacks and display it. Let's write some JavaScript logics. Let's see how to transfer props. Actually, we have already seen that. Let's actually implement it and transfer it from parent to child or child to parent. Okay, so yeah, that is all we'll do today. We'll try to finish this application maybe tomorrow, and then we will move ahead exploring other concepts in React. Actually, we just want to go beyond React. There are many libraries and packages beyond React. Like there is a package for state management, which is better than the context API. There is a package for managing the routes, which is better than managing your own routes in React. So we need to actually test our components as well. So there are more things to do. So let's first finish this project and then we will move ahead. Okay, so before starting this session, do you want to ask me something, everyone? Okay, then, can we start this session now?
Yes.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Um, okay, we were here last time. Let's put this on the right and this one on the left. So I asked you to try to implement this delete functionalities. Uh, did anyone try to implement this yourself, or were you successful of doing that? Okay, okay, no worries. Let's then do it together. So what we did until now is we created components here. Let's close this all. We created some components like we have common components here, and we have you can say these are shared component as well. We have other components which are not common like feedback list components. So we have created this card component last time. This is a common component. Actually, this component can accept and return something. Can you tell me what is this component accepting and what this component can return? This is like a function, right? A function can accept something and return something, right? So can you tell me what is this component accepting and what is it returning?
Is it accepting children
Okay, it's
and
accepting.
background color?
Yeah, correct. And it is returning.
Is it a
So
card? Is it returning a card?
it's returning. It's returning. Yeah, you can say that as well. But it's returning a simple JSX, right? Simple div tag. You can say inside that div tag we have children once again. Then what is that children actually? Is it is what is the data type of that children? Or what can we say? Is it a string function or what is this?
Is it a prop?
Yeah, it's a prop. Technically, it's a prop. But what is content inside it?
JSX.
Yeah, it is containing JSX. So we are actually accepting the content between the tag, right? For example, maybe we have used it somewhere. Let's go. We have used it here in card in this app component. Here we are passing JSX. This is a children, right? Do you understand if I tell you this is a children, the line number 12, this line, this tag, the div tag is a children. Do you understand that?
I have a question. So if it's not inside the card tag, is it no longer considered a child or a children?
You
Like if you had the
mean
same line, but in like line 10, or if you skipped a line after line 10 and you put it outside of the card tag, is it still considered a children or no?
no, that we need to actually tell this in respective with other. If this div tag is outside of this card, then this is no longer a children of this card.
Got it.
But we
Okay.
can still say this is a children of app component, right?
Okay, it's a children of app component, but not a children of card.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So so this is a children. It will by default go inside that children prop. Okay? This is really important. So you can try passing directly that children prop as well, but most of the time you will pass the JSX element as a children. Okay, so this is a reusable component which will accept anything means any children, any content. Okay, any content, and it will give a JSX once again, but it will apply some styling to it and provide maybe it will apply some beautification and make it look better. Okay, that is the job of that reusable component. So we are writing uh, all the components here and CSS here as well. Together with each component, we are writing CSS like CSS module. There is a better way of writing CSS instead of CSS module as well. We'll talk about it sometimes later. That is a styled component actually. It's a better way of writing CSS in React. But we are actually sticking with the CSS module right now because the concept of style component is not quite that much different we will see some rules there, and some benefits as well. But we are sticking to CSS module right now. Later we'll go to style component, as well as we will implement some CSS frameworks as well, like Tailwind CSS or Material UI, something like that. But right now we are using the CSS module. Again, you can use global CSS once again. For example, if you want to apply a CSS to all of the components everywhere inside React, what do you think? What will be the best approach to use global CSS here? Can you imagine such case? And do you think there is a better approach? If you write your CSS inside card.module.css, it will only be applied in card component, right? It is imported here. But we want to have a CSS which will be applied to each and every component that we have in React.
Can you have like app CSS, have them all in app CSS?
Uh, what was that? Up CSS?
Yeah, like the main parent dot CSS,
Oh,
so that it will apply to all its children.
okay. So where do you think that main parent is?
Is it card? Not
Card
quite
is
sure.
no, card is not also main parent. It is just a common component. Maybe
I
we'll use
think
inside later only.
we can import on app.js.
Oh, okay. App.js. Is this the outermost component or JavaScript file that we have?
Is it index.css?
Not index, just main.js.
Main, no.
Yeah, this is a main.jsx because we need to go at the root, right? And then the tree will expand. So if we spread something from the root, then it will go to every branch of the tree, right? So this is like a root main.jsx. So we can actually have global CSS here. Then it will affect to this app component. So app component is rendering each and every component, right? Every other component. So we can import our global CSS here. So let's create one file for global CSS like index.css. You can have anything. It can be anything. Now let's write global CSS here. So if I write like let me write background once again. Let me target the body. And background color is red, let's say. And if I save it now, it is not applied, right? We need to import it. We need to import it in main.jsx. Let's have it here for CSS. And if I save it now, nothing is happening. Maybe the server is not starting. Let me start this server. I'm going to delete everyone here. And let's go. Let me close and open it from scratch. So here, slightly the PC is slightly slower here. I need to go inside feedback app, feedback app, and yeah, now we can start the server using yarn dev command, right? Let's refresh it now. Oh, I think the port is not correct here. Okay, now that red color is applied to the body. So what is this body actually? This selector. This selector is coming from the where is our index.html? Here we are selecting this body actually. So we have applied this color to this application. So it is applied globally from here. then we can have our global CSS here, right? For example, instead of having background color here, we have our margin by default in body, right? Let's remove that margin. Let's have that margin removed. Now we have margin 0. I don't know, this is taking some time actually. Actually, there is some issue. So it's slightly slower. It's taking some time to refresh. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we removed our margin, right, from body. So for example, if we have some more padding as well, maybe we can remove it by writing padding 0 as well. So these are the global CSS that you want to write. And we want to make our box model. We have our box model every time, right? For example, if we inspect it, if you go to any tab, then you'll see the CSS box model, right? Let's go and let's see on the right. There we have, oh, to make it slightly bigger, there we have a box model here, this one. So by default, this will not contain this border padding into the dimension of the box. So that is regarding CSS, right? If you want to contain that border padding into the dimension of that box, then we will make our box sizing. By default, it is content box, I think. I think that is the default one. You can just see here. But we want, yeah, here is also the option that we have content box. By default, it will have this setting, but we want to make it border box so that we can actually have our margin, have our padding and border contained inside that dimension. Try to see the dimension before applying border box, and after applying border box with padding and border, then you'll realize what is happening there. Okay, most of the time we want to actually write this setting as a global CSS. These are like CSS reset, actually. CSS reset. We are resetting something. That style is not related to body, actually it is related to everything. So if you want to target every HTML tag, if you want to apply this CSS everywhere, then you can just write a asterisk here. Okay, but if you want to target something especially inside body, then you can just write body. Okay, let's target body tag as well. So let's have some font family. We need some font family here. Let's go to Google Font once again. I think we didn't use this last time, right? Have we used Google Fonts already?
Yeah, I think only in like HTML, CSS classes back then.
Oh, reverse this scroll ahead. In Mac, the mouse is reversed in other way. Okay. So then let's go to fonts here and let's select one font. Maybe this is slightly changed. The UI is slightly changed. Maybe can I search here? Roboto. Okay. Maybe not. I'm in the wrong. Need to find. Okay, we need some thing to click here. Okay, yeah, I think. So Roboto, let's say, or we used it already, right? Maybe Poppins as well. Yeah, we have a lot of fonts. You can try anyone. Okay. So we need we need, let's select some of these settings. Maybe we can select from here. So we need this. Maybe regular and medium and bold. I think that will work. You can now copy this import tag, actually this one, and go to your index.css and paste it on the top. Now we have imported this Google font. It will work only on the internet connection, actually. So what you can now do is use this font here. So Poppins, right? Is this the font that we have? Poppins. So let's try to see. Yeah, it is applied now. Now it is applied to our application. So this is a global CSS starting from body, right? So you can write such CSS here, actually. I'm just trying to show you what you can do with global CSS. Okay, if you want to apply some light background color, for example, let's say we want to apply this background color here. Now it is applied globally, actually, in the background. If you want to apply the color of text, then everywhere, then you can actually write it here. Yeah, you can write the global CSS here. Maybe later we will see other global CSS as well, but these are the basics, I think. You can add something here, and you can apply and see it is added globally everywhere in your React application. Okay, for now, I just want to add this CSS only here. Any question, everyone? So is this fine now? All right, then. Let's comment this. So we have our components. We will add components here. We are having data here as well. So let's go and add some functionalities to our application. Maybe we can click on this delete button and this will be deleted. This item will be deleted from there. Okay, so what we want to do is delete this item. So where do you think we have some components here, right? We have feedback component, we have feedback list component. Where do you think we need to go and implement that delete functionality? Into which component do you think we need to do that? On the feedback app, or on the app.jsx? Where is this list coming from, actually? This there are two lists right now, right? So if you go to feedback list here, feedback list is having the list. This is the feedback. Maybe we can delete it from here. Right? We have our feedback here. Maybe we can delete that particular feedback and implement that delete functionality. Actually, we need to implement it here, right? Because this is the button. We need to have one function here. We need to have one function on click event. So while this button is clicked, we need to fire this on click event. We can attach it, right? So now we need to implement it here. So when I click on this delete button, then that particular item should be deleted. But how can I make sure this particular item is deleted? Because this is a button which is available. This is a general button, right? This may be this button or this button. So how can I make sure this is clicked and it is deleted?
You will get a success message after you delete.
I think we'll need to use like ID or something like the unique variable representing
Yeah,
that, like, yeah.
right. We need the ID of the item. Do we have ID for each and every item here currently?
Yeah, I think we made it like as an object. So I think there is ID variable, I think.
Yeah,
We need to pass it here.
we have our ID here, right? Each and every item is having ID. This is an item, right? This one is an item, this one is item, right? So they are containing ID. Item is containing text as well as ID. And that item is already here, right? An item is containing text. Item is also containing ID. Then we can grab that ID from there, right? So that's fine. But if you delete that, but let's say we have our ID here and we successfully deleted this item from here, from this component. But if you delete that item from this component, this is actually coming from your app.jsx. This is actually having this items feedback state, right? These two are rendered from this feedback state actually. And we are going all the way down into feedback and deleting that item. And we are not updating that feedback state. Then this will not be removed from here, because this is coming from our feedback state. We need to update our feedback state, right? Are you getting me? So where is this feedback state storing the data? The data is coming from your feedback data all the way to from here. We have our feedback data. They are imported to app.jsx and they are inside feedback here. Now we are sending this feedback into feedback list here first, into feedback list, accepting feedback here. We are once again sending into feedback here, the same data, right? So we are mapping feedback.map, and these are the item inside feedback, and we are sending that item inside feedback here, right? So if you delete this item from here only, then this will not be removed from this UI, because this is coming from your feedback data, which is here. So at least we need to update this feedback as well. Delete it and update it. So what can we do? This feedback is not accessible directly. Can we pass props from? Now we are trying to pass props, or now we are trying to send data. Actually, this is strictly not passing props from child to parent. Now we are trying to update data from our child components to the parent components. We are trying to update our state in the parents component from the child component. Why do we want to do that? Because we want to update this feedback, which is here on the parent component. We want to update this feedback from this child component. Okay, otherwise this will not work. So we will do such things with the help of functions. So we will actually pass our function. We will actually have our function here. Let's create our function here, create our delete function here, and call it from here. While calling that function, as an argument, pass the ID which you want to delete. Okay, let this app.jsx know which ID you want to delete. Just let this app.jsx know about the ID, and pass that ID through the function. While you are calling the function, pass that ID to app.jsx, and it will take that ID and delete it here. It means we will implement delete functionality here. The main function will be here, but we just want to pass the ID from here. Okay, so for that case, we need to actually pass function starting from feedback list. So it means we will create a function here. This is a delete function. Let's say we will not write anything right now. Now let's pass it. Let's pass it here. Delete feedback equals delete feedback. Now we are drilling. We are doing prop drilling here. We are passing this delete feedback into the feedback list. Now this is actually received here, right? Once again, we will pass it here. Once again, we will pass it inside feedback. We are drilling actually here. We need to solve it later using context. So finally, it is received here into feedback. Finally, it is received here. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm not creating a function here. I will call this function on click. So let's see if this function is, so this is not called here, right? So if you want to call your function on click, then we will implement it using a function once again, but this function will be waiting for the click. Now we have an arrow function here, which will not execute directly, but it will execute when it is clicked. So we are calling this delete feedback from feedback component, but the delete feedback is actually inside app.jsx right here. So let's see if it is running or not. Initially, it will not run, right? Let's go inside console tab. Clear it everything. So I'm going to click on this delete button, and it will actually, I'm going to click on this delete button. It will execute this function, right? And this function is containing another function called here. Now, while this function is executing, it will call this delete feedback. So where is this delete feedback coming from? It will go back now. It is coming from actually feedback list here. So into feedback list, where is it coming from? It is coming from app.jsx. Now it is here. Now it will actually call this function. So let's see. Let me click on this delete button. And can you see? Now we successfully called our function, which is inside app.jsx from feedback component. It means we can also pass some data from here, right? Let's pass the ID from here, which you want to delete. Do you think it is possible? Can we pass the data from here while calling the function? We are trying to transfer data in backward direction now, right? This was the problem that we have because React is only working from in one direction. That is called one-way binding, right? Top to bottom. Now we are actually implementing two-way binding from bottom to top as well. So we are now passing the ID into the delete feedback. Now let's see if we can receive it here or not. So instead let me go for now. Let me just pass item. I'm passing item. Now here I will receive that item, right? This is simply JavaScript function. Now here, what we want to do is implement it. You click on item.text with ID. This item is having ID item.id. Let's say. And we are now going to delete. We are now going to click here, not delete right now. Click here. And when I click on the particular item, that item will be displayed here. Let's see. Clicking on this first React is awesome delete button. Now, can you see? you clicked on React is awesome with ID 1. That is what we want, right? We want to track which item is currently clicked. And then we will delete that. When I click here, it says you clicked on this item. Now we successfully know which item is clicked. It is clicked from feedback, but we are knowing it in app component. Because this is just a function. It is called from another component, right? It is located in app component, but called from feedback component. This is a really important concept, actually. You need to use it when you want to do, when you want to apply a two-way binding in React. Means when you want to transfer a props from child to parent. Actually, we are not transferring props here. We are actually transferring it via argument, function argument. We are passing data through arguments, receiving it as a parameter here into the function located in app.js, right? Guys, are you getting it? What am I discussing here? Any confusion? So finally, we are ready to implement our delete functionality here. Let me see. Actually, this is slightly. Is my screen lagging or is it smooth to you guys?
No, it's not.
Okay, good. So then we are ready to implement this delete functionality here. We know which item is clicked, right? So what we can do here is we can now update this feedback. We want to essentially update this feedback. Can I update this feedback from this function? Can I do that?
Yes.
So how will I implement it?
I don't know exactly, but you can because of the use state, right? Like that's why you can update it.
Okay. So is there some function that I need to use to update that state?
You need like a set feedback?
Yeah, correct. Previously, I removed it. We were not using it. We need set feedback. This is as obtained as a second element of array, right? Set feedback from use state hook. Now we can use the set feedback here. And we want to update. Now we want to implement delete functionality. We can update this feedback by passing something here, right? So we can actually add feedback here. We can actually remove feedback from here. We can actually clear this feedback entirely. We can do whatever we want. For example, let's clear everything entirely. Then we can do like, this is the format we need to actually remember is, this is an array, right? So let's pass empty array here. Now, what do you think? What will happen if I click on this delete button or on this delete button?
Everything will be deleted.
Everything will be deleted and we will not see anything.
Yeah, we'll not say anything. For example, if I click here, it will say no data found. Why is this showing no data found?
Because we are
From
setting the
feedback.
feedback as an empty array.
Yeah, and we implemented it here, right? Previously.
Yeah.
Here, we checked if the data is empty. If the length is actually not greater than 0, then we will show no data found, right? Let me remove this one. We don't need car right now. So we don't want to do this right now. We want to delete only the item we just clicked, not everything, right? So what can we do? What do you think? There is a function existing. Yeah.
Can you use filter? What's it called?
Correct.
Mount filter. Yeah.
Yeah. There is a function which is available in each and every array in JavaScript. Filter means you can actually either not remove anything or remove something. You can return array by removing some element from it, or you can return array without removing anything from it. So if you want to remove something from an array, then you will use filter. If you don't want to remove anything from array, then you use map, right? Currently, we want to use filter here. So let's filter that feedback. We want to filter that feedback, right? Feedback.filter. Filter is like a map method because it will accept a higher order function, means a function inside a function. That's why it is like a map method. But the goal is not like a map method. The goal is to filter some element out. So here we want to compare the ID to the actual ID of the feedback. If the ID that we clicked matches to the actual ID of the feedback, then we will delete that feedback. If it is not matched, then we'll not delete that, right? So the ID is coming from, actually we have our actual ID inside feedback, right? The feedback. So let's say these are actual item. I'm writing actual item because there is an item already. So this is actual item, but we have this item, which is clicked item. You can say clicked item here as well. So we want to compare the ID of actual item and the clicked item. So if that ID of actual item is not equals to ID of the clicked item, then return it. What we are doing here is we are returning some items and checking. So do not actually include, we are filtering these things. Do not include those items which are actually, whose ID is equal to clicked item.id. So we are actually excluding it, means we are making it not equal to. Let's see, we'll actually make it equals to, and let's see what will happen there as well. Now we are trying to click here. Now I'm clicking on this button, and we assume this will be deleted. Yeah, that is deleted, right? Now if I click here, this is also deleted. So what we are doing here is include those items whose ID is actually not clicked. This is the logic that we are writing. Include only those items which is not clicked. Do not include those items which is clicked. So that's why we are writing not equals here. If you write equals, then it will not work. It will work in opposite way actually. So if you click here, this will be deleted now. If I click React is awesome, then other one is deleted, right? We don't want to delete other one. We want to delete the clicked one. That's why remove that item which is clicked. This is the logic for that. It's really simple, right? It's a JavaScript filter method, which is used here with the original feedback, and it is compared with the actual clicked feedback to the original feedback. All right? It's not that much difficult, but we need to make sure that we will call this function, this delete feedback, not directly here. We are not calling delete feedback anywhere here, right? We are calling that delete feedback here only on click, but it is located here on the app component. All right, everyone, is this fine for you? Any question?
So on line 19, when you call the delete feedback, you don't specify it takes in parameters. Do you not have to do that?
On 19.
Yeah.
No, because we are not going to call this function here.
Okay.
We just want to know what we are doing here from line 19 is we are just transferring the function information only. We are just transferring the information. Means the reference to the function delete feedback. We are just transferring the information to the feedback list. We transfer the information to the feedback list. Now feedback list is also not containing each and every item. Then we are once again transferring the same information to the feedback. Finally, the feedback is containing the information of each and every item. Here, it is containing the delete button. We are transferring that feedback, delete feedback function all the way to this delete button actually. So we are only transferring the reference. We just want to let that button know the existence of this function inside app component. Now only from this particular component which is containing that delete button, we will call this delete feedback here only. Okay, that's why we don't want to pass those data there.
All right.
Yeah. Anything more? So yeah, now since we implemented the delete functionality there, we can have something more like before deleting it, maybe we want to alert the user. There is a package called react.toastify. Maybe you can use that, try that. We can do that sometimes later, but we can do little fancy things now because the functionality is implemented, right? If the functionality is done, then you can add some styling there, make this beautiful, make this delete button a little more awesome, or place it on the right, make this color a little more attractive. These are like actually decorating something. Functionality is added. Now we are decorating from the outside, right? And inner functionality are also strong now. So yeah, you can try doing something here. For example, you can write so we have like window dot confirm, like for example, we can alert the user, do you really want to delete this feedback? Do you really want to delete this feedback? If user is agree, if user really want to delete this feedback, for example, if user is agreed, if this will actually either return true or false, that's why we are placing it on the if block, then only we will delete this feedback. Otherwise, we will not delete this feedback. Right? So now what will happen is if user clicks here, this alert will come. Do you really want to delete this feedback? This is coming from this window.confirm. Confirm is actually coming from this is a part of web API coming from the browser. That's why we are seeing it on the browser here. If I click cancel, it will not delete this one. But if I click on OK, then this will delete that one. All right, these are like added functionalities, like to make this UI interactive. Like there are concepts like user interactions, user experience, or user interface. So both should actually have a meaningful experience, like user experience and user interactions. These are the crucial things in your application as well, but this will be done by other designer or developer like UI UX engineer in your team as well. But we successfully, as a React developer, added the functionality here. All right. So any question, everyone, until now? Now you can try many things, right? There are like, I showed you a simple example like this window.confirm. There are like thousands of packages out there which you can try. For example, to have this this delete zone in better way, maybe we can add a popular package called, let me go to AMPKG first. We want to go here, right? Popular package called React icons. This is a simple thing that we want to do, right? So these are the added functionality to your application. You can actually implement your own, but you can use the existing packages as well. Sometimes instead of doing your own work, it will be easy if you implement the existing one. So let's copy this one. Let's try to install it. We want to add one more We want to decorate it a little bit more. That's why we are adding it here. Let me see, where am I currently? I need to go inside feedback app. And now I will paste it here. This is done. So this is done means it will be here inside package.json. We have our React icons here. So what you can do is now use that React icons. So for that case, you need to see the documentation. Oh, so you need to go there and see their documentation. You can actually add React icons in this way. Let me add this one then. Let me go to that feedback component. Where is that? This one here. And we want to add that icon. Let's see what is this icon containing. This is like a React component. You can see how it is used here. How it is used here. Let me copy this code. Or maybe I can copy this one. Let me copy this one and have it after this feedback. And let me save it and let's see what is this actually providing us. This is a beer, right? Class of beer. So this is the icon coming from here. Maybe instead of grabbing this beer from here, let me grab the essential one. Maybe the instead of writing delete here, I will actually render the React component for that delete icon. So here, previously we were seeing something like FABR. Let me try another one, which I already know, but you can go and see in the documentation a list of icons, right? Let's see if it works or not. Yeah, it is coming here, FA times. And this is like a React component. And let me remove this FABR. We don't need this one. I'm going to save it now. Yeah, we have this cross sign now instead of delete, right? Now you can click here. Once again, it will work. This is like adding some different UI instead of existing simple text, right? You can decorate it as well. For example, by looking at the documentation of React icons, you will see okay. Maybe we can pass. Is not shown here, but you eventually know the full documentation. Maybe it is somewhere, yeah, right here. The full documentation is here. You can go and read the documentation sometimes, but I want to do it right now. You can pass some props. These are only supported if it is available within the documentation, okay? For example, let's pass the prop like red, color red. Now it is red. So in this way, you can just have your one custom looking icons. Maybe you can put this on the right here instead of putting on the down here. Maybe you can try those things, right? But right now, let's not implement it. Can you use CSS for this button, guys? Can you write some CSS for this button yourself? What do you think? Where should we write some CSS for this button? On which file? On index.css or in which file? Are you getting me, everyone?
Maybe feedback module.css.
Yeah, feedback module.css. So you need to go here and write some CSS for that feedback component. So let's create a class called close here, and we'll apply that class there. And cursor to pointer. Let's have that cursor pointer there. Currently, if I hover over here, my cursor is still not pointer, right? This is not showing me the hand icon there. For example, if I go and hover over here, there you can see my hand icon cursor is appearing. So what I can do now is import this CSS here. Import styles from that feedback.module.css. So we want to apply it to the button, then class name equals style.close. This is the CSS we want to implement, right? This is the CSS which is written here. Now this will apply there. Let's see. Now can you see? This is the CSS we want. Here you can see my hand icon now. So yeah, you can add some CSS, more CSS if you want there. For example, let's go there. There are some CSS layout. One of them is positional layout. What you can do is write position absolute. By default, it will not be absolute. You can make position absolute, or relative if you want. If you make this position absolute, then you can now use, now it is gone. It will not take the space. Now you can use this property called top. So let's use top. Let's see what happens if I use top 0. Oh, now it is gone to the top. Both of them are here. So instead of, yeah, this is fine. Let's make this, let's put this on the right, and 0 here as well. Oh, now it is gone on the to the right, right? So maybe on the right, I want to have maybe 20 pixels of space. Save it. Now it is 20 pixels, maybe. Yeah, this is fine. Make this a little bit smaller here. Maybe little more, 30 pixels. Okay. And from the top, I want padding of like 15 pixels, let's say. Okay, maybe a little small. So these all settings will be most of the time given by the UI UX designer to you. What are the padding that you need? What is the spacing from top, from right that you need? Okay, most of the time you don't have to worry about yourself, but sometimes you can try yourself as well. Okay, so yeah. Now maybe I can remove some border from there. Border none. Now the border is also gone. Yeah, maybe you can increase the size if you need, but for now I think this is fine. Okay, maybe let's go there into the feedback component, and instead of black, let's have purple, let's see. Okay, now looks that is fine, but let's try to change the color of this text as well. Okay, where is the another? Where is the another icon here? This is the only one icon that we are seeing here, because both of them are strict here. Maybe if you remove this one, and now you are seeing two icons there, because you are applying this top CSS. That's why both of them are located there. So yeah, just try adding some CSS here. Try bringing this down here, bringing this down all the way here. And this one is only for this first list. This one is only for the second list. Maybe you can try adding some more CSS here. For now, it is located here because of this absolute position. Maybe you need to use position relative somewhere, just try to see the difference between relative positioning and absolute positioning and try to add some CSS here. So I want you to do this work, okay? Add some CSS for close button. Okay, and adding CSS will also take some time. Yeah, you can practice on your free time writing some CSS here. I'll leave this work for you guys. Is this fine? So do you have any questions until now? So the main things that the main goal of this lesson until now is to implement the delete functionality by calling the function from the child, which is locating into the parent here. We implemented a simple JavaScript filter function here, and we grabbed those clicked items from the child. You can just send item.id here as well. It will also work. Now, if you send item.id, then you don't have to accept whole item. You can say clicked ID instead of clicked item. Now, here, you can directly write clicked ID. Okay, this should also work. All right. Any confusion, guys? Are you doing with me, or are you not understanding anything, guys? Because you are not asking me any questions today. Am I too fast today? Yeah. Peter, do you have something to say?
I guess it's just clear to me.
Oh, great. What about you, Pratik? Are you understanding it? Do you have some questions? Maybe from Nissan? Alan, do you want to ask me something?
No, I understand it. I usually watch it as you do it the first time, and then I go back tomorrow and do it myself. That's how I find it easier to learn.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, just ask me if you have something, okay?
Oh,
If
I have a
there's no-
question.
Yeah.
Before we did the CSS, I don't remember what file it was. The item and ID.
Okay.
I don't know. I forget which part. One of them was confusing me, like the way you called them in the app.jsx or the feedback list.
So you are confused with this delete feedback functionality still?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay. So yeah, let's actually talk about it a little bit then. So this button, we want to actually go to this button. Where is this button located? So we have three components until now. First one, top one is app, other one is feedback list here, and other one is feedback.jsx. So we are just looking for now. For now, we just want to see where is that delete button located. It is not located here. The button is not here, but it is located here. Then we can delete particular item by clicking on that delete button, right? So we want to call that function here when this is clicked. That's why we are calling this function here. But it is not directly available here. It is created on app.jsx, but it is one step below. One step below means in between app.jsx and feedback, there is a component called feedback list. This is like a children of app.jsx. You can see directly inside app.jsx feedback list is rendered, not feedback, right? So feedback is like a grandchildren of app.jsx. Then if you want to go to the grandchildren, you need to first go to the children of app.jsx. That's why the children of app.jsx is feedback list. So we passed the delete function to the children first, which is feedback list. And grandchildren of app is a feedback component. And can you say feedback component is a children of feedback list as well?
Yeah.
So we already received our delete function into the feedback list here. We passed it here, right, as a prop, and we received it here, the delete function. We will not call it because we want to call it only from feedback when that delete button is clicked. That's why we are not calling it. We are just passing the name. So now feedback list is getting the name. The main goal is to transfer it into the feedback component. So feedback component is now directly the children of the feedback list. Now we can directly pass to the children from the feedback list via props here. So we passed it via props once again. Similar pattern is followed here. This is like a prop drilling. We are drilling the prop from grandparent to the children. So grandchildren, you can say. Finally, we passed it to the feedback here from line number 15. Finally, it is received here. So you cannot directly pass this function from app to the feedback because it is not directly rendered inside app component. That's why we passed it through feedback list first and finally to the feedback component here. So finally we received it here. Now we want to call this function here into the feedback component because here is the button located. When you click on that button, then that function should be called. I'm writing this arrow function here because if you remove this arrow function, then guess what will happen? This function will be called before clicking on that button. So before clicking on that button, this function will be called. We don't want to call that function before clicking on that button. Which button will be clicked? We don't know, right? But it will call it before clicking. Let's see it. So yeah, can you see? We are not clicking anywhere, and it is saying, do you want to delete this feedback? If I refresh it once again, it is showing me, do you want to delete this feedback? It is calling that function before clicking on that button, right? If I cancel it, once again it is showing me because I'm not clicking anywhere, and it is asking me to delete this feedback. First, I need to click, right? That's why I'm actually preventing it from calling before clicking on that button by just writing it inside a function. Now this will be called once I click on that button. So let me cancel it once again. If I refresh it now, it will not actually run immediately. Now I can click here and it will not run. So this is also important. You cannot directly call this this function. What we are doing here is writing something inside a function, right? You can also do something like, if you don't understand, then you can create a function here outside. So you can write like function delete or handle delete, something like this. And now we will call this delete feedback into that function. We will call this delete feedback into handle delete. Okay, so and we will actually accept something here when we click on that item and pass that item here. So that item is item where we clicked, but it will not be available here, right? Because we are not accepting it directly into this delete handle delete from here. So to accept it directly, instead of creating a function outside, we want to actually implement it through arrow function right here inside this function. Now, if I click here, then that item is directly accessible here. We can pass it.
Okay, I
Or
got
you
it
can,
now.
yeah,
Thank you.
you can just try writing it in a conventional way as well. It will also work actually. So because it will be rendered each and every time, you can just write delete feedback here and pass that item.id because it is running each and every time. It will also come here. So now reference this function here. Now this function will be called first, and this function is containing the delete feedback. Now it should work. So if I click here, it should be deleted now. Okay. Yeah, everyone, any other questions from any of you? Maybe Ankit, do you have some questions for me? Okay. Okay, then let's move ahead now. So maybe we can implement some other functionalities in this application. We want that input field because we don't have any input field to actually type our feedback. Let me commit this one right now. And we want to actually push this code. This is currently located in this branch. Okay, be careful. This is not located in the main branch until now. We added React icons package and we implemented this delete feedback functionality. So finally, let's add some more components now. Let's have that input field, and that input field will help us to type something and post our feedback, and that will be rendered here. Then we need to create one more component now, right? So into the component here, we want form. That form will contain input fields. So let's create another file called feedback form. JSX. And now this will contain a form. So yeah, let me create a new form here. We don't want to have anything here into the action right now. Now form will contain some input. That input is like a feedback text. And we will have a button here as well. Button to have some text. So submit something like this. This is a simple component. So we haven't rendered it anywhere. Let's render it into app here before feedback list. So it is imported already. We don't want to pass anything to the children. That's why directly rendering it. What is this suggesting? Cannot find name feedback form. Do you need? Oh, okay. It is not exported, I think, right? It is exported. So why is it not finding feedback form? Okay, I think it is now here. Yeah, it is imported. We will save it now. We have a simple input field here, a submit button. We will input something here, submit it, and they will be rendered here. This is our main goal now. Okay. Any question? So later we will add some CSS and make it look something better. But right now we want to implement some functionality. Okay. And you can start doing something here now. Maybe you can have something like before form, maybe S3, S3. It's not completing. Okay. Input your feedback, something like it. What's this? Okay. So now we need to handle this input button and submit button. So we have two buttons here. We can start typing something and we will get it into our application. So I'm going to ask you one question now. I think you have already done it. That's why. So we have this input button here, right? Let's not worry about the submit. We have some input button. I'm writing something in the browser. This is a browser. This is our VS Code where we are writing our React code. I'm writing something in the browser. How can I take this from the browser to my VS Code? Or you can say in your React application, I'm typing something. How can I get it into my VS Code here? Let's say that I want to store it in some React state. Right? Let's say I have one state here. I have a React state. And I want to actually have it inside this React state, like uh, text and set text. So I want to have that text which is typed here into this text variable, which is a React state. How can I actually get something which is typed here into my React application here? Do you have some idea?
Yeah, so on change, you can use input, what's it called?
Updating
Target.value.
with
You use set text to that.
event.target.value.
Okay, there is something called event that is coming from browser actually, right? The event is coming from browser. It will actually have that value. The event will store some value, right? So that event is containing a lot of other things, but one of them is one of the property is called target, which is containing our value, right? So how can we take that event? How can we actually receive that event here into our feedback form? We want to receive that event, right? How can we receive that event?
On clicking the button, we can uh, trigger some function, and with that function, we can pass through event.
But we will not worry about button now. Let's say that we don't have button. But we want to get whatever typed here immediately. When I'm typing here, immediately it should come here into this feedback form.
We can use the onChange function.
Correct, yeah. There is another prop which is already built that is actually event in JavaScript. OnChange is an event actually. OnClick is also event. We used it already, right? Similar to OnClick, we have OnChange for input fields. Whenever something is changing here, input field will grab that change and take to your code. So we need to use exactly the same event name here, OnChange. You cannot use other name, okay? So OnChange. Now here, what should we do inside OnChange?
Call set text.
Okay, OnChange. We need to immediately set our text. Let's see, set text and
Then maybe parse in event.target.value.
but we don't have event here now, right?
Oh, pass in value.
But how can I write something which is not here, right? Directly. Now we need one more thing here then.
I think we need to like create one handler function outside and then like call it as a reference.
Correct, yeah.
Ah,
Why go outside? Can I do it directly that I previously did?
Yeah, yeah,
Can
you
I
can.
accept event here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Now,
exactly.
now target this text, right? With set
right.
text e dot target dot value.
Mhm.
Let's see. Let's see if it can set that text to the typed text or not. We want to see it as well. Or let me directly print it somewhere. Maybe after the phone currently. Currently, I want to print it directly here, okay? So here, I want to print it into the H1 tag so that works. So currently it is empty initially. Now let's start typing something here. So I'm typing, yeah, it is there into the text. That's why we are seeing there immediately while we are typing, right? So this is a React state. That's why it is updating each and every time. If you change it, if you delete it, it will be updated. So this is the state. We successfully accepted some text written here through this event. Event is containing this target property. Target property is containing this value property, and value is containing that text which you are typing. And we are setting it directly here. Right? Is this fine, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you can have some placeholders there. Placeholders like write your feedback here, something like that. Or input your feedback. Okay, so we can attach this input field with the value as well. For example, we can have value. That value is coming from our text. So now it is showing. Let me refresh it. I think it will not show. Yeah. So whatever you type here is actually the value. Oh, we have some problem here. There is something called controlled or uncontrolled event. So let me refresh it once again and try to type. And it says component is changing an uncontrolled input to be controlled. So we are setting this value text here, and text is initially null. So we are making this, we are controlling this input actually. So initially it was not controlled, but now it is controlled with the value of text. It will create some confusion for now. Maybe I will comment this for now, but we will eventually make this controlled component, controlled input fields, because we want to actually link this value to this text. For now, there is no issue with this uncontrolled component, but eventually we need to make it a controlled component. Okay, so we will attach it to the value, and that value is dynamically coming from here. But currently as well, this value is coming, right? This value is like hello, and let me have that another button as well. And we need one more. When I click on that submit, we need to send it somewhere, and we need to clear this field from here, and we need to update this text as well as this value here as well. At that time, we'll activate this one and make this a control component. Maybe we'll wait sometimes while we implement this functionality. All right, to implement this feature. But for now, we are successfully able to write something, but we cannot submit it anywhere. So we haven't implemented that one. That is what we are going to do. Okay. Any question until now, everyone?
I'm just confused. what you're doing on line 14 is not what set text does.
No, no. This is not related to set text. This is just a value which is coming from here. Okay,
So
this is
set
not.
text would set the
Yeah.
value of text to the value of the input field. And then, so what does line 14 do?
Oh, yeah. For example, yeah, when you let's see what will happen if you write something like hello only here. Directly I'm setting some text here. Now, okay, I need to click here. Now I'm typing here, but it is not updating, right? I'm typing. This is we are controlling this input field, but I'm trying to type something, but it is not typing. So because it is now static, right? We cannot actually change this. For example, if I remove this from here, once again, it will have the same effect. Now I'm typing something. So initially it is trying to set this value to hello each and every time, but still I'm able to type something here. So it is not setting whatever I'm writing here. Actually, we want not allow user to have some text which is other than the text he has typed into this input field. Actually, this is regarding the controlled and uncontrolled input field. We'll talk about that. Okay. For now, you don't need to worry about it. For now, we have e dot target dot value, and this is working fine. Okay, set text and that other value text is not related currently. Okay, maybe we'll implement it. So not to worry about that one right now. So okay, let me commit this one for now. And now we will validate something. We will implement this button functionality. When this is clicked, we want to send this data. Do you know what? Can you guess what will happen when I click on this button? What should we do? Maybe if it is possible, we want to finally update this feedback, right? This feedback. If this feedback is updated by adding the text that we entered, then another feedback will be rendered here. Eventually, we want to update this feedback. Maybe we want to send this feedback from here to this app component. And if it is possible to send that feedback from feedback form to the app component, then we can update this feedback, right? Are you getting me? Eventually, our goal is to update the feedback finally. This is the feedback that we are dealing with here. So we want to add some feedback from feedback form, which is inside our app component. This feedback form is a child of app component. If it is possible to update this feedback, then there you'll see another feedback rendering. It means we will finally send this data from feedback form to app component and update this feedback. All right. So maybe can we take some break and continue this session then? We're going to do those things. We'll implement something inside feedback form as well. We need to write some initial CSS here. Maybe in each and every feedback module we have written initial CSS. Maybe we'll write some initial CSS for feedback form. For feedback list, we'll write some initial CSS. And we'll continue this session. Okay, maybe we'll create other reusable component here as well. We are writing this button all the time. Maybe we can create one reusable component for button and implement it anywhere, everywhere, instead of applying CSS and every time, right? That will be also great. So can we take some break and continue this session, everyone?
Sure.
Okay, so let's meet after 10 minutes, guys. Thank you.
Let us break for 10 minutes.
Last week, I made the decision to stay. Yeah, hello everyone. Can we continue now? I think we passed 10 minutes, right? Are we here, everybody? I think we all are, maybe all of you are not here today. Maybe because of World Cup. I don't know, something like that.
It can be.
So let's continue now. We need to do something more there. Now let's complete our feedback form. Maybe it will be better to introduce style component as well, because eventually we'll go there. Instead of writing CSS in CSS module. For now, let's first implement some of the functionalities here. We haven't done anything with this button. We haven't done anything with our text here. We haven't passed it anywhere, right? Final goal is to send it to the feedback and update the feedback. So what can we do here now? The first thing is, let's go and add initial state here, like initial text. Not showing. Yeah, initial text is shown here. That this is not a good practice. Maybe I can have nothing here. Okay, now it is working. And now let's get back that value from. And okay, so it will not occur here. So yes. So when you have this value prop, let me have initial data to test for now, just for now. Now you can see test is here as well as here. But if you don't have this value text here, I refresh now. Test is not here, but it is here. Means a React state will handle your input value if you have this value prop here. So this is a good practice to do actually. But if you don't have this value prop here, your React will not handle it. Your DOM will handle it. So usually we will attach this value prop which value is coming from some React state. Okay. And previously we are not passing anything here. And it is showing like, if I type here something, it is showing this warning like, hey, you are now controlling this input, which was previously uncontrolled input. Now you are trying to controlling it. Previously it was undefined. Now you are trying to define something. That's why it is better to pass initial value. So now it is defined previously as well. It is initially empty. Now we are adding some empty, some text here. Okay. So we have a lot of things to add in React. If I try to add TypeScript, all of the things right now in this right here, then it will create some confusion. That's why I'm separating those things. But eventually we will do those things. Okay, we will need TypeScript as well, because if you have TypeScript here, then it will do it will actually save this warning before coming that particular warning. It will immediately show you something, some error here. We'll do that eventually with TypeScript. Okay. For now, we have a pure JavaScript version of the React where we don't have a type safety. Type safety means sometimes we can say text is a string. Sometimes we can say it is undefined. Sometimes we can say it is object. Sometimes we can say it is a string. There is no type safety here. Later, we will actually implement it using TypeScript. Okay. So we want to store something there, right? And maybe we have this button here. Maybe let's disable this button. We can directly write disabled here, right? And if I save it, now it is disabled. But I cannot disable it all the time. So I want to have another state for that disabled state. So is disabled state is disabled. This state is only within this React form. That's why it is fine. We will not send this state anywhere else. We will not have prop drilling here. This is only for this feedback form. That's why it is fine to use it here. Now what I will do is have is disabled here instead of directly writing disabled here, right? Disabled is equals to is disabled. So initially, let's say that the value is initially false. Now, initially, it is not disabled. If I have this true, then it will be disabled here. So I will change the state from true to false eventually. So initially, it is false. And or we can initially make it true, right, instead of false. Later, we'll make it false because when user types something, then it should be activated. And we may have some error message as well. Some errors while doing something, while typing something. Let's say that user types a lot of empty spaces here only. Then or user types some invalid characters there. Then at that time, or user types only 2 characters here. At that time, we need to show, hey, you cannot type only 2 characters. You need to type at least 20 characters, something like that. For that case, let's implement another state for error message. Let's say error message and set error message. Initially, that error message is empty. So we'll display that error message directly below the form right here. So let's say instead, let's display that error message into the div tag. Let's say into the div tag right here. But we need to wrap it inside this bracket, right? Maybe we can have maybe we can create a class somewhere outside for this feedback form, right? And with styling, we can grab it. But for now, I'm using inline styling, but it is a very bad practice to use inline styling most of the time. Okay, so you need to either use your styling inside some CSS module, or later we'll introduce like styled component. Then you need to minimize your inline styling as much as possible. So, but I'm directly writing it right now, okay? but you need to send this styling somewhere else in respective file. Maybe let's say color is red. So okay, for now we don't have any message. Let me have some message here. You have any error, something like that. Yeah, now it is visible here. We want to show this error to the user. So if that error is there, then we'll show that error. Otherwise, we'll not show that error. So currently it is not there, right? Eventually we'll set that. And okay, we have 3 states here. Now let's actually handle our text here. When user is typing something, then we have on change here. It's an every time when user is typing something, instead of writing this now here, I want to create a function called handle change outside. And into that function, we will do these things. We'll accept this one here as well. Now I don't need this arrow function at all. Set this text here, but I will not set this text directly. I will have some validation here, right? So let's say that if the text is not empty, then only set this to some value, right? For example, if I have this directly now here, we go here and the user is typing something empty value. Oh, it is not shown. So let me console log this text so that you can see that in our console. So when I'm typing something, I'm typing space, you can see my state is coming here. Means text is updating each and every time for empty spaces. This we shouldn't actually do. We shouldn't update our state with the empty value, right? There is nothing to actually update. So let's prevent it. What we can do is write if else statement, very simple one. Let's write if that text is equals to empty. So or so if that text is empty, as well as if we have our spaces, if we have some spaces, then that will not be empty, right? That will have some spaces. Then we can trim those spaces. Text.trim means removing those spaces from there. We'll remove each and every spaces. So if our text is trimmed, now the length is the trimmed text. Let's actually validate the length as well. Length is not, if the length is less than 10, let's say, if the length is not greater than 10, then we will not set our state. At that time, what we will do is we will actually set the message, set error message actually. So, or you can actually validate it separately. For example, let me first do it for empty text only. So let's write your text empty, something like that. And if I save it now, refresh it. If I type something, yeah, you can see it says your text cannot be empty. I cannot also write something there. So I'm not able to write anything, right? So because the text is the set, oh, we don't have that set text. Set text is gone. I need some set text here. I think we need to write it once. Set text. Okay, now I can write something. If I have some spaces. So I have some spaces. So we need to conditionally render this message as well here. What we are doing here is rendering this message all the time. So if there is no message, then we don't have to do that. Okay. So now the text is not equals to empty. We don't want to set our message. So what we can do is another else statement will eventually make this error proof. Else if our text dot print, so this is actually removing all the spaces that we have. This text dot trim dot length is less than 10, let's say. Now we want to have another error. Instead of this error message, now we will have your text should be 10 characters. Now let's see which one is coming. Typing space here. Your text cannot be empty. Now I'm typing 2 spaces there. It says your text should be greater than 10 characters. Now this string will not be counted if I write something there. So I'm writing something which will now be greater than 10 characters. So once it is greater than 10 characters, then we should remove that error message, right? So once again, we need to have another statement there. Otherwise, finally set this error message to nothing. So I can have empty here or null here. Null means nothing. So we will eventually remove that error message. Now we will enable that button, because when the text is greater than 10 characters, we need to enable that button, right? So now we will enable this button here and make this true. Otherwise, we will make this false all the time. If there is error, then we will make this false. There is error, then we'll make this false. Otherwise, we'll make this true. So let's see. Let's see if it hits the character length, which is greater than 10, then it should enable this submit button. So I am now you can see at this moment it is going to be greater than 10 characters. So now, okay, it is strictly not checking. I think we need to do something more there. But now somehow it is removing that error message because it resets into this else condition. So this is a simple, very simple validation. Okay. Very simple validation for a text. We have already validated for empty characters here. Now we don't need to validate it here. What we can do is if text is not equals to empty and then text.trim.length is less than 10. So in this way, we can have some input validations. This is all about this handle change. We are doing all the things inside handle change. We are writing if else statement. Or try to minimize if else statement as well. Most of the time, it is not good to write a lot of if else statement. If you can do that without writing if else statement, then that will also be great. Okay, so yeah. This is how we validate this one. Finally, we will set this text. Finally, the text will be set. But the submit handler is still not enabled when these are not passed. But we can still set the text each and every time, but submit button is all the time disabled. It will be enabled only inside this else block. Okay. Any question or confusion? You can dynamically render this one as well. If there is message, then only we show this. That's why what we can do is if there is error message, then only show that. Otherwise, do not show that. So this is just having this error text when there is error message. When you start writing something here, when you start writing something, then it should actually show you that error message. Your text should be greater than 10 characters. But why this submit button is activated now? Why is this activated? I think this is opposite, right? We need to make this true. Make this true as well. Because if it is disabled, then we need to make true for disabled, false for not disabled. Here it is disabled. But if this text length is greater than 10 characters, then it should actually be enabled. Now we can submit this one. All right, everyone. Is this fine for now? This is like in really simple input validation here. We validated our inputs from the handle change function. You don't have to actually write handle change function somewhere else. This is actually writing. We can directly write it here as well. This is the handle change, right? You can directly paste it here. This will also work, but it will be good if you separate, right? It will also work if you write it here, but we don't need the function name here, right? Once again, it should work. For example, if I write something here, it should work. So yeah, this validation is not actually correct. Maybe we need to work a little bit, but it is better to actually use this handle than somewhere else outside. Okay. If this is empty, then we don't want to show anything. For example, if this is empty, then user should type something, right? Maybe we can set this to nothing. If this is empty. Now, if user try to type something, then we need to show that the text should be greater than 10 characters. Okay. Any question, guys, until now? I think you have some confusion. You need to do it yourself, right? Maybe. Then you want to ask me something? Yeah, let me know if you are feeling some confusions here. So we are creating a base. We have a form here, but still our submit handler is not there. But before submitting this feedback, we need to submit something more. Maybe we can have something more, right? Together with feedback, maybe your name, your age, your information, right? You can attach any information, any more information. Let's add one more thing there. Maybe let's add one ratings there. So let's create another component. Then we will, together with rating, we will submit the feedback items. So feedback text. So what we will do is create another component. This is all about feedback form. Let me comment this one. This is input validation actually. So let's have another component called rating. Here we will actually have some feedback ratings and display to the user. Select the available rating. We will display the available ratings here and finally submit that rating together with feedback. All right. So maybe we will have some inputs where user can click. For example, let's have li tag and ul tag. The ul tag will contain the type of the ul tag will be radio. So radio means user can click here. Let's write something. Paste. And let's render this feedback rating. I'm directly rendering it here. Maybe we'll render it somewhere else if we need later. So, okay. Now it is not clickable. Let's go there. And let's say checked. And we need to have some list of ratings. CHCK ED. We need to have some list of ratings here where user can click, right? Maybe let me search for input. Instead of having this UL on order list, so let's do this in other way. This is list should be inside on order list actually. This is opposite actually. This on order list should be here. Final list should be here, but instead of list, let's add input. I was trying to add input there instead of list. Oh, something went wrong. Happened there. Okay, let me remove this one. Maybe we can add it later. Okay. Input is a void element. Okay. This is a void element, right? I cannot actually have something inside input. Okay. So okay, now I can click here. All right, that's fine. That's what we need. So we need those inputs. We need maybe ratings starting from 1 to there are 10 ratings, let's say. Okay, how many of them are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now user will select this rating. We will eventually name all of those ratings. Maybe the label is, let's label those ratings. Say this is rating 1 or rating 0, let's say, maybe. Yeah, each and every rating will have their label. So by default, let's only have ratings starting from 1. And each and every input will now contain the ratings. Okay. So yeah, you can expand this, make label for each and every inputs. So we will attach for each and every input, we will attach onChange handler here because this is an input, right? onChange handler once again. And we will have some function here like handle rating input, something like this. Now let's create this function here. Handle rating input. And we will do something here. Like what we will do is store the ratings in some state. Now we need one state as well, React state. And we will store that rating in this state, like this is like selected rating. So let's say rating, set rating. Now we'll store rating here. So initially the rating is, let's say by default, the rating is 0. Now inside this handle rating input, we will set the rating set the rating to, once again, e dot target dot value. We'll later see if it is coming from e dot target dot value or not. But eventually what we are trying to do is set rating coming from here. Okay, we are trying to change. Let's see what is this coming. We need to accept E here. Let's console log E. Let's see, when I click on that one, then I will see E. Click here. This is E. And E contains, oh, we have current target and we have target. Yeah, we have target. Now we have E dot target dot checked is containing true. We don't have value here. Okay. Yeah, these are all the properties of this E. Actually, we don't have value because we are not associating this to some value, right? Let's say the value is let's say 1 for this rating. And once again, save it. Clear this one. Let's refresh it and we'll click there. Okay. Click here, and this is the rating. Then we need to see the value here, otherwise we cannot grab it, right? Let's see if it is inside target or not. Okay. Inside target already. We are seeing it inside here. We have value here, right? 1. So it means we can grab it, e dot target dot value, but this is a string, right? String. Can you convert this string to number directly here? Do you have any idea to convert this string to number? Because we want number to be stored in rating. Do you have any idea to convert this number to string to rating? String rating to number?
Can you typecast it?
Typecast it, okay. How can I do that?
Sorry, I'm not familiar with the command.
Yeah, you can write number here directly. It will be converted to number now. Or the easiest way is just write plus sign here. This will directly convert this string to number if it can convert. Okay, it will not convert your string normal text to number, but it will convert your number inside a string to the number type. Okay, so finally we set the rating. So let's see. Let's see what is this rating initially and later. Rating. So let me refresh it once again. Let's see on the console. Are we on the console? Yeah, we are on the console. So let me click it here. So initially the rating was, you can see, it is coming from feedback rating. Where is that? Feedback rating here, it is 0, right? Initially. So when I click here, now you can see it is coming from feedback rating and the rating is 1. So we successfully able to grab the rating, right? We are able to grab the rating from there. Now your work is to complete this rating, other parts. Attach value for each and every input, attach unchanged for each and every input. Right? So yeah, try to do that. Maybe you can try adding name here or ID here. Try add ID here. and you have ID and for attribute, right? So in React, instead of writing for here inside label, in HTML we used to write for, right? Here we'll write HTML4. HTML4 means you will write here, for example, this is rating 1, right? You can say or this is number 1. You can write num1 in this way and attach it here as well with ID. So why will we write ID and for attribute, guys? Do you know why we sometimes write ID and for? This is
To
because
make sure that label matches the current input, like the ID from the label matches the ID from that input.
yeah, and zoom it here. If you click on 1, then it should check this, right? If you click on 1,
Yes.
so this is matched. But if you don't have this HTML4 and ID actually connected, then if you click on this 1, then it will not check this. These are connected actually. Okay, so yeah, I think this is all we need for now. Just try to complete this, okay? Try to attach this value for each and every input, on change for each and every input as well, and ID as well. You need to have different ID for each and every input. Otherwise, it will select all of this if you click here. Yeah, any questions, everyone? Okay. So I'm rendering this. Let me comment this. Okay, this is your work that I have not done. You need to first finish this, then only we can attach the rating. For now, let me complete this one by having one more commit. Added rating component. So what we are doing here is rendering this rating inside app.jsx here. But instead of rendering it here, I think it will be better to render it inside form, because rating is also a part of form, right? Instead of rendering it here. So let me remove this rating from here, because rating is a part of form. For example, later if you have your name, if you have your age, then that will be a part of form. You'll not directly render it inside app. So let me go here and render it after this form, maybe. Maybe just first you need to have some rating and then some feedback, maybe. You can implement however you want. Let me attach rating here. Now you have your ratings coming and your form. Maybe if you want your ratings to come later, you can attach it here as well. After this error message, maybe. Okay. So yeah, now we have our rating. So actually, we need some data here. Text is here, but rating is not here, right? We don't have rating here. We have text only. We need rating here as well, because rating is also a part of form. But rating is inside another component. We cannot write it here directly. It is inside feedback rating component. Do you know how we can transfer that rating from child to parent now? We need to transfer that rating, which is here. We need to transfer that rating here from here to feedback form. Feedback rating is a children of feedback form. We need to transfer data rating from children to parent now. Now, can you guess how can we implement that? Any idea? Do you understand what I tried to say here? We want to transfer this variable inside child component to parent component actually. So how did we do that previously?
By creating a function,
Creating a function, that's correct. So let's create a function here. Let's create another function and we will actually call that function. So actually we need to create that function in parent, right? Am I correct? So let's create, let's say grab rating, something like that. You can have any name, okay? We need to grab the rating from our children to the parent. So this will grab that rating. So we will send it. We will send it to the children here. We will send this function to the children. Oh, we need to actually send this. Grab rating equals grab rating. This, and we will actually accept it inside feedback rating here. So right here. This is destructuring, right? We are destructuring it because this will be inside props. So finally, we will call it from here where we have the rating, right? Now here, what we will do is we will send our rating to the parent. This is the rating, right? Now we are sending this rating to the parent. It is sent now. Now this function is called. Finally, we need to accept it, right? We need to accept it. So this is the rating, actually. So let's console log this rating. And let's see if we are able to grab it to the parent component or not. Yeah. Any question? Let's see, and we'll go with the question. Okay. I'm going to click here. Now this should come inside feedback form. Let's see. Now can you see? It is coming inside feedback form line number 26. Means we are successfully able to grab the rating inside feedback form from the child component. From this child to the parent through the user function. Now I think you understood the way how we function for passing data from child to parent. Now once again we can create another component, another state similar to rating, right? Like you can have same name as well because they are in different component, they don't matter. Actually you can write rating and set rating here as well. We have rating here. You state initially the rating will be, let's say the rating will be 0 initially. So finally what we will do is after grabbing this rating from there, here we will set this rating. Instead of console logging, we will set this rating. So yeah, don't write the same name. This is like let's say input rating, something like this. And to remove the confusion, now we are successfully able to grab this rating as well as text into the same component, feedback form component. Now we have two fields in the same component. Now, if you want to send text and rating to the app.jsx, then it will be easy, right? Because they are in the same component. Eventually, we are going to do that, but right now we are able to access it here. Any confusion or question, everyone? Oh, I think I need to just give me a minute, everyone. Okay, I think I need to charge this one. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Do you have some questions, please? So did you understand what we tried to do here? What was our main purpose of doing this? We are passing our data from children to parent all the time, right? From parent to children, it is really simple through props. But from children to parents, we are using a function. This is not looking that much good, right? I think it will be better if we can do the same thing using alternative pattern. This is making a code little bit complex. Passing the same data from child to parent to children. That's why we will use context later. The context will help actually to do these things in a better way. But right now we are doing prop drilling and we are grabbing and sending data. Okay, we will actually remove this prop drilling through context later. Okay, any more questions? No questions? All right, so finally, we want to send this feedback form data to this app component. This data, rating and the text. Finally, we will send it to the app. Let me commit this one. Yeah, grabbing rating inside feedback form. You can commit however you want. Okay, for now, this is just to understand what we did there. I think. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So let's finally send this data rating and the text all the way to app.jsx. I think now you need to help me to do this. So first tell me, how can I send data, which is text as well as rating, from feedback form to app.jsx? Which pattern do I need to follow? What should I do? I want to pass feedback form to the app component. So what is feedback form? Is it a child of app component? It is a children, right? Right? So can I now pass the data from children, which is a feedback form, to the parent app.jsx? And how can I do that? We did it all the time, right? We did first when we are deleting a feedback. Later we transfer the rating, right? Now we are transferring this feed form and the rating. Maybe is my voice breaking, guys? I think some of the voice is breaking here. Are you hearing me properly? Is it fine?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So the main goal is send this text and rating to app.jsx. And how can we do that?
By using function.
Yeah, by using a function. So we need to where do I need to create that function?
In app.jsx.
Yeah, correct. In app.jsx, because we want to take that feedback here. So let's create another function here. Let's say function. Finally, we're adding the feedback to the actual feedback here. Add feedback. So we will accept this and set this, because we have this set feedback, right? When we have our feedback, let me refactor this feedback data first. Let me have rating as well here. Like, let's say this is rating having, let's say rating is, let me give this some random rating. Rating 10, let's say. So we have rating as well. Maybe you can try rendering this rating somewhere here. That's no big deal, but this is the format that we already have. We have text, we have rating. We can generate ID ourselves actually. These are the random ID. We can generate ourselves. No big deal, but we want to grab this text and rating from feedback form to app.jsx finally. Now let's send this feedback form then through, let's send this add feedback through feedback form then. It is sent to feedback form. Let's accept it. Going into feedback form. Let's go into feedback form and let's accept it here. Add feedback. Now, what do you think? What should I call this add feedback? It is already here, available in that inside feedback form. What should I call this? I need to call this when user clicks on this on.
Garak, I think you might be muted.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. For how long was I muted?
Just a couple seconds.
Oh, thank you. I didn't recognize. Yeah. So what I was saying is I need to send this when I click on the submit button. I need to send feedback text as well as the rating when I click on the submit button. So what I can do here is attach a handler called on submit. So what you can do, you can put this submit inside this form here. The button is a part of the form now. Okay, now it is here. Maybe you can have rating before now then. We'll have better CSS, okay, later. Do not worry about this look here. We'll make it beautiful later. But right now we want to grab this input text as well as the rating as well as text and click on the submit. Now what you can do is attach a submit handler directly here inside your form. You can attach when this button is clicked, then submit handler will run. So handle submit. So now let's create that handle submit here function. Handle submit. And inside that handle submit, we will accept, we will actually send the feedback data when it is clicked. But one thing is actually wrong here, or not working well. If I do console log hello, something like this, what will happen is if I go to inspect, let me initially make this true. The button is false, so I cannot. Sorry, initially let's make it false. Button is true, so I cannot click there. Let's go to console. Now, if I click here, look what happens here. Can you see what is happening there? If I click here, the application is refreshing, right? The entire app is refreshing. So can we prevent the refresh of this application when I click on that button? Do you know? I think you did it right previously. We have once again event coming
Event.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what can we do with event?
Event dot prevent default function.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. We have this event as E. Now we can use that prevent default function from event. This will actually prevent that refresh. So now if I click here, this is not refreshing. That's fine. So finally, I want to send this data. Now finally, let's call this add feedback function. Add feedback function here and send this data. So where is our feedback? Our feedback is we need to send feedback as object, right? And that feedback should contains text property and the value should be text as well. That's why you can write only simple text. If value and the property are same variable, you can just write once. And we need to send rating as well. So finally, we will send feedback with text and rating. And that's all. We sent text and rating from our handle submit. Okay. And now they are available here inside app.jsx finally here. This is like new feedback. Now let me console log here. New feedback. Oh, new feedback. And let's see if it is coming here or not. So I want to select this the rating one, and I want to write something here. So new feedback. Now I will click on the submit and we will see this console log coming from line number 19 here. Yeah, can you see? This is the object that we want, right? The object contains text which has the value that I just typed here, right? This is the value that I just typed here. And it also contains the rating, which is 1 that I just selected from here. So it contains the text as well as rating, which matches to our data pattern, right? Text as well as rating. Now we need ID as well. We will supply it ourselves, but we have text as well as rating. Finally, we received it inside app.jsx. And finally, from here, we can update this feedback. All right, everyone. So how can we generate that random ID? Maybe you can write simple utility function, right? Let's search about some utility function. Simple JavaScript function generate random ID, let's say. And maybe we can grab this from Stack Overflow. Generate random string for div ID, I think. Okay, so I don't know, this will generate random string all the time or not. Maybe we need to validate, but it is somehow generating the unique ID by taking the current timestamp. I think it will generate the unique ID. So yeah, random later as well as date.now. It is taking the current date, so date will always be unique, right? Maybe we can only take current date. Let me grab this both. If I have other utility function that will also work. Math.random, I don't know, this will always generate unique ID or not. We need to make sure. And here are others as well. You can grab any of them if you like. But most of the time in real world application, you will use some library like, let me go to Yan PKG. You will use library like UUID. This is a really popular one to generate random IDs and every time. So this will give you a random ID, which looks something like this. So let's then install it instead of taking some function from here. Okay, let me go. Oh, I deleted that. I need that actually. Let me first install it here. Now we have UUID package here. I need to once again go to UUID. Maybe npm.js will also work. The documentation is same actually. So how can I use it? We installed it already. Now we need to import it. We need to import it. Let's import it inside app.jsx. So it is imported as v4 here. Sorry, UUID v4 here. So how can I use it? Then I need to use it just by calling it. Really simple. Just by calling it. Let's call it here. So we need to actually generate random ID for each and every feedback. So let's attach ID into new feedback. It's really simple actually. New feedback dot ID will attach ID to the new feedback. So let's see if we have random ID or not now. So currently this is a feedback. Let's do it one more time. Let's select it and let's type something there. We don't have validation. We'll later have some validation there. Currently there is no validation. Hey, this is okay, my feedback, something like that. Now let me click on the submit. Once I click on the submit, it will come here and it will attach random ID to that feedback. Let's see. Click here. Click here. Now can you see? We have ID rating. Now there is a random ID. We have rating, text as well as random ID. This is what we want. This is the format. This is the final format of our data actually. Text, rating, and ID. So we received text, rating, and ID. Finally, we can set this feedback. Now this is finally a moment of truth. Let me make it small now. We will render it here, right here on the bottom. Once we update this feedback, finally what we will do is update this feedback from here with the help of this set feedback function. First, we need to copy all the previous feedback. Do you know how? This is inside array, right? We need to copy all the previous feedback. What should we do to copy all the previous feedbacks?
Spread operator.
Split operator, right? So we will copy all the previous feedbacks, add the current one. The current one is the new feedback. This is the current one. Now this line of code will render our new feedback here. Let's see. Let me do it from very start. This is the rating. The rating is not rendered here. We'll do that later. So this is my current feedback, something like this. And once I hit in this submit button, now this is coming here. Finally, we rendered it inside our UI as well, inside our browser, inside our app component. We updated this feedback, that's why it is coming here. So this is the power of React state actually. Whenever the state is updated, your application will re-render. That's why you are seeing this here. Otherwise, you cannot see this here, right? When this state is updated, this feedback is updated, whole application will re-rendered, including this too. So that's why you can see it here. So now we provided life to our application. This is all we want here, right? We'll make it beautiful later. This is a separate thing regarding CSS, but we added all the necessary logics here. We need some more input validations. Maybe currently you can submit empty feedbacks here, right? No, nothing is there. If you click on submit, now empty feedback is here. Maybe we need to actually prevent this later by adding some input validation, but this is the basic requirement for our application. And we completed our application, the basic features of our application till now. So did you understand what we try to do here? What we did mainly? Or are you having a lot of confusions with this application? Yeah, maybe just try to do it once. I think you need to actually implement it yourself. Implement passing functions from child to parent and updating the state yourself once. Then let's discuss tomorrow as well. So let's once again discuss these things tomorrow. Tomorrow we will add some more functionality. We'll do things regarding CSS tomorrow. Okay, we'll make this application looks beautiful tomorrow, and we'll add some input validations as well. And later we will realize there is a problem within our application. Then we'll move to the context. All right. So I want to end this application for today here. So let's discuss if you have some questions. Otherwise, we'll end this session. Yeah. Do you want to ask me something, everyone? Maybe here we have like Bina. Do you have something? Asis, Mukund. Maybe something from your side. Ganesh. Yeah, you can.
It's good so far.
Okay, great. So, okay then. So let me commit this one for today. What we did is render this feedback finally. We sent our feedback data from feedback form to app component. That's why we rendered it from app component. Okay. Let's try to make it looks beautiful, maybe from your side tomorrow, guys. If you can, maybe make this input field a little more attractive. Make this. Yeah, we haven't actually completed this all. Okay, this will not work actually. This will not work for now. So try to complete this yourself. And yeah, we'll actually continue it tomorrow then. All right. And yeah, you will see, but this will not be persisted right now. If I refresh it, then it will go away. So I'm typing something here. Now this is rendered here, but if I refresh it, it will not be stored. We haven't persisted. We don't have any database right now. This is just adding it, but saving it nowhere. So actually we'll implement that as well. We'll implement our fake database here. We'll create our database within our React application and save it somewhere. Okay, and we will actually accept these things as an API as well. We need to do more things here within this application. Okay, but for now, you can just try. This is add something here, and this will be deleted if you click here, because this will work for all of the all of these feedback lists that we have here. All right, so yeah, let's continue from here tomorrow. So thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. So have a good day. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night.